What's up? What's up? What's up, family? If you're watching the replay, remember hashtag replay. Let me know you watch this. Let me know some of your thoughts. That would be amazing. All right, we're getting a few people jumping on. What's up? What's up? Merlin, right. What's up? Anders, hello. Hannah, good morning. All right, we got a few jumping on. Done. Good morning. Good morning. What's up? Alistair, Mandy, good evening. Francis, what's up? Hey, today we're just doing a casual chat. Today, every other time I've done an episode like this, a training one, I've kind of gone boom, 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 boom. But today, I'm just doing a casual chat. I had some questions come to me around these subjects, and I thought I might as well share some of my thoughts on here. Let me just go live here on Instagram. Good morning. All right, we're good. Here we are. Instagram, what's up? So I would love for you to share with me any wins that you have had over the last week. Any wins, anything good that's happened over the last week. Hello, Wilson, all the way from India. Good morning. It must be late at night for you. Good evening. Any wins that you have over the last week or so, I'd love to hear. Or from the last episode, last podcast, or my podcast with Shay Bynes, one of those Fuse Life podcasts. Anything that you have, any feedback, anything that's happened for you, I'd love to hear. So today, I'm just going to quickly touch on these three subjects. It's a casual chat. Like I said, I don't have any PowerPoints or anything today. But it's important, I had someone message me and ask me about coverings because there is this famous thing that happens where people say, you need a covering, you better have a covering, and usually they're referring to a network or a certain person. They are referring to someone who becomes your covering and somehow has authority over you. And it was quite an important subject, because when I first came to God and I first was saved, I was fully in. And that's how I learned leadership and authority and submission. That's how I learned it. So I just submitted, and I submitted to all the leaders that were in the church that I was in because I thought I had to. And I don't like to be extreme on subjects, because most subjects don't need an extreme. They need a level head in between. So I'm not the guy that says coverings are bad and you should never have a covering and that kind of. I try and look at what are people meaning when they say covering. What is the point of a covering, or what is the purpose of it, and what is the benefit? So I know there are people that are like, we'll never need a covering. Jesus covers me, like the comment there, and I get it. And then on the other side, there are people that are like, you need a covering, you have to have a covering, and you better get under my covering, and I have a network, and you should get in my network, and it costs this much money, but this is what you get if you get in my network, And after processing both these sides, for me, this is kind of where I stand with the covering. I think that this idea of covering represents protection, provision, relationship. Right? Covering, when you think about that word covering, I'm married to Kirsten. We've been married for a while. I cover her. I am her covering, and I let her cover me. She covers me too. And so there is something that happens in the beauty of covering. Like some of you guys, we've been journeying for a while now. I cover you. I don't need you to recognize it. I don't cover you for you to go, oh, Joseph covers me or something like that. But I cover you. Covering is the heart of the Father. He covers you. Jesus covers you, right? Holy Spirit covers you. There you're covering. But there is something to be said about when you have people in your life that cover you. But the way it's done, I think, is weird. So I'm just sharing my thoughts on here. Like Paul, the apostle, covered Timothy. He was his covering, if you want to call that. But it was I love you. I will cover you like you're my son. I will protect you, provide for you, be there on whatever capacity I can to make you better for you. Right? So if we rewind all the way back to what is the heart motive, and if the heart motive is love, then it's always seeking to give, not to get. And this covering thing, you can tell where someone's at by whether they just want to get from you or they're trying to get you to get under them. They use that kind of language, get under me. Or their heart is for you. Like I have people in my life that will pray for me. They cover me. They will ask me how I'm doing in every area to help me or cover me in the best way possible. They never enforce it. They give it. And the way I look at covering in the kingdom is actually they come under, let me stand on them, and they cover me like a cocoon. Are you with me? So I know people that hate this word. They hate the word covering only because of what religion has made it. What religion has made. So you're covered by God. Yes, you're covered by Jesus. You're covered. You know that. You're covered. But there are also people in your life that God puts, and they're not to be your boss, right? They cover you because they love you. They never even need to talk about it. They don't ask for an exchange about it. They cover you because they care for you. And you should have people like that. It's always good to have people like that. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? It's a different way of looking at this covering thing. So most people I see, like pastors, say, "Oh, you should be a covering." No, your covering might never be your pastor. Your pastor might not know how to cover you. Your pastor might know how to have authority and try and enforce it over you, but might never know how to cover you. Because covering is like the heart of a father, the heart of a mother. Covering will protect you, will provide for you, will take care of you, will nurture you. It's completely different. So this word submission, I put that on there because a lot of people think submission is something that can be demanded. You can't demand submission. Submission is a byproduct of love. Jesus, the Bible says, husbands, love your wife like Jesus loved the church. How did Jesus love the church? He's like, I'm going to die for the church. I died for you. Boom. Before I invite you into anything, I am going to lay my life down. True submission is a response. It's a response. You're responding to love. I know many pastors, many leaders, many husbands try and tell their wives, you should submit to me. Leaders tell people, oh, you should submit. That word's thrown around. No, submit the way Jesus did it is very different. Submit the way Jesus did it is, I lay my life down and you will see my laid down life. And because of that, you will automatically submit. Submit is not a weak position. It's a choice of love. Submit is not enforcement and oh, I am nothing. No. Submit is, I can't believe how much love you are giving me. Your kindness has caused me to repent, to change my way of thinking. I submit to you because I see that I am important to you. It's very different. So this word has been thrown around a lot because in religion, all right, so I'm using all these three words in today's chat. In religion, everything is done out of relationship. Religion, let me say it again, not out of relationship, outside of relationship. In religion, you're trying to do everything that is natural in a relationship, everything that is beautiful in a relationship, everything that is amazing in a relationship. You're trying to do that outside of the relationship. That's what religion is. Religion is a seeking, a searching. You're still searching for God. Religion is, I don't know where I stand with God. I don't know if God loves me. I don't know where I am with him. I'm still searching. I'm still praying the rosary, hoping if I pray it enough, I'll make it. I'm still climbing the stairs. I'm still breaking the coconuts. I still face the north and pray 5 times a day. I'm just hoping that what I do will bring me into relationship with God. Religion is still a search. And so all the beautiful things that happen in a relationship, religion tries to copy that outside of relationship. Religion is like an arranged marriage. Think of an arranged marriage where someone else comes and says, you must marry you. People come and say, you must do this with God, for God. Like when somebody is like, oh, you know what? I'm curious. I want to know, is there a God? Religion is like, I'm going to get you into my method of connecting with God. You should wear this and look like this and talk like this. You should come to this building on Sunday at this time. And religion is trying to create in a person's life what relationship automatically produces. Are you getting what I'm saying? And so arranged marriage, somebody else comes and says, you must marry this person. And then you go into marriage. What does marriage look like? You live together, you talk to each other, you do life together, you eat together, you go to work and come back and hang out together, and you have sex, right? In an arranged marriage, it's all around compromise. And that's what religion is. It's all around compromise. I'm going to do this to have that. I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do. It's not out of love. It's not out of submission. There is no bliss. There is no beauty of an organic relationship evolving. Religion tries to bring you the benefits of a relationship without intimacy. So submission without intimacy, submission without a relationship is hard. It sucks. It's dead. And so you will know that there are people who read the Bible outside of intimacy. They read it from a religious context and they enforce it over people, but it's lacking love. As soon as you take out love and you take out true relationship, every principle in the Bible now is dead. Every principle in the Bible becomes works because you remove the living heartbeat of our Father from it. And so submission outside of intimacy, submission outside of love, submission that's not organic is a religious duty. It will bring death. And there are many pastors who demand submission because you joined their church, not because you saw their love. Not all pastors. There are many. Many of the religious system has been designed like that, where you must act like an arranged marriage to God, like an arranged marriage to your leadership, like an arranged marriage to other people outside of a love organic relationship. You have to act it out as religion. It will always bring death. So when I meet people that say, what about coverings, Joseph? Like this pastor said, I need a covering. I'm like, does your pastor love you? Does your pastor eat with you? Do you eat with your pastor? Has your pastor's love brought you to a place where you are like, man, I see so much Jesus in you. I will choose to submit. Not because you said I have to, you know. I hope this is making sense. I'm not giving you a clear-cut answer because there isn't one. There are people I've submitted to, but I've submitted to because I think they're amazing. They've proven to me they love me. I don't submit like, oh, I have to. No, you're the boss of me. No. In fact, they elevate me. The ones I've submitted to elevate me. They give me freedom. Here's another way you know where submission brings bondage. It's not in relationship. It's out of religion. Do you know that right now I submit to Jesus? I will die for him. I love him. Not in the religious way that most people think. Like we got a couple of people here on Instagram, whatever, and a whole bunch of people here on Facebook. I don't know how you relate to Jesus. But to me, this is not a religious duty. I will happily die for him, but it organically grew to this point. Nobody could bring me here. Like I love my wife, right? My wife here is 12 years in the relationship. We've organically come to a point where our love has organically developed and grown. Nobody could tell me to have this love for my wife on day one. That's crazy. So when I see people that live by principles outside of relationship, that's what religion is. You're trying to get the benefit. It'll never work. It's hard work and it will always bring death because who's powering that? You and I. When we do anything out of intimacy and love and relationship, it's powered by the Holy Ghost. You will never run out of gas. But when you do stuff out of religion, out of a place of, I just got to do the right thing. It's just a matter of time before you run out of gas. So submission is beautiful when it's in intimacy and organic love and relationship. It's beautiful. My wife submits to me, but she doesn't submit to me because I'm the boss of her. She submits to me because somewhere over these last 12 years, and she submits even more now, somewhere over the last 12 years, She's like, man, this guy will die for me. I will be stupid not to yield to him. And I submit to my wife also, even though Jesus' command to me was different. And this is where a man and a woman need to know their role. Like my role, biblically as a husband, is that I will lay my life down for my wife. I will die for my wife. My role is not that I will demand submission, that she better submit to me. I am her covering. My role is I will die. My function, I will lay my life down for. So she has seen that over and over again, so much so that she's like, I submit to your willingness to die, Joseph. And when I see her life, I submit to her too. Because it's all organically developing in love. So this whole covering thing, when I meet people that want to cover me, but they don't want to know me. They will never get on a phone call with me. They won't spend time with me. They don't want to know my heart. Right? There are people like that. They don't want to know you. There are pastors and stuff. They know you're covering, bro. They're like a boss. They know you're covering. If you never get to sit with a person, how are they your covering? Some people think magically like I come under the covering, and there is truth there in what happens when you come under the influence of a move or a movement. But we're not talking about that today. I'm just talking about pure covering, submission. Make sure there's relationship. If there's relationship, this is an organic, beautiful conversation. But if there's no relationship, this is death. Both of you are going to die because one is deceived and the other one is hoping that they're going to receive something. So I hope that made sense. Submission is a byproduct of love, a laid down life. Okay, number 2, let's go to prosperity. So many people hate this word and it annoys me because the gospel by nature is prosperous. Let's look at the gospel. Jesus comes as a man, right, to restore and reconcile you and me to original intent. He came to bring us back to the penthouse, bring us back to the ultimate, where we were designed for, to bring us back to what Adam lost in the garden, right? So the gospel by nature is prosperous. Heal the brokenhearted, release the captives, set them free, right? To bring you into wholeness, to bring you back into original intent. This is all prosperous stuff. Prosperity is the nature of the gospel. I get so annoyed when people use words and they chain them to the gospel for their feelings. Like people created this thing called the prosperity gospel. What are you saying? The gospel is prosperous. What they mean when they say prosperity gospel is, there are some people who use the gospel to manipulate others. There's some people who use the gospel for greed. And they rob people. And I totally agree with you. There are such things. But don't call that the prosperity gospel. Call that the lying, cheating, manipulating, dodgy gospel, the false gospel. Don't call that the prosperity. Prosperity is the nature of the gospel. Jesus died on the cross so your sins would be forgiven. You are free. What is freedom? That's prosperity. People have made this stuff so weird. Like when people say the grace gospel, the gospel is gracious. That's the whole point of the gospel. So I want to help you, whoever's listening here. If you're a religious kind of person, you probably already don't want to talk to me after we just talked about what religion is, but and all the best to you. But prosperity is your inheritance. So when people get hung up on prosperity and prosperity preachers and stuff, you want to start learning how to separate that. Like, hold on a second. Are you meaning that this pastor or this preacher, they abuse the gospel for their own bank account? If that's what you're meaning, then don't call it prosperity gospel. Call it the false gospel, that they are using, manipulating, and they're lying and cheating. Call it that. Don't call it prosperity. Prosperity is your inheritance. So what happens when you hate prosperity? You will never walk in it. If you have a heart issue towards prosperity, to being prosperous, towards having a healthy life, and I'm going to open up prosperity to you soon. But whatever you have a heart issue against, you close the door on. So if you have a heart issue against prosperity, you will never experience it in your life. Why? Because you're the one that's going to reject it without even knowing. It's not that God doesn't want to give it to you. You're going to reject it without realizing, because in your heart, you've created hatred towards it. So what is prosperity? Prosperity is not a bank account. Your bank account is a reflection of your prosperity. It's just like a scoreboard. It's like a thermometer. Your bank account is like a scoring mechanism of your prosperity. Prosperity is an inside job. Prosperity comes on the inside first and the outside second. Prosperity is not only money. A lot of people reduce prosperity to, well, how much money do you have? Or, how much wealth do you have? No, that's a small portion of prosperity. Prosperity first is who you are. Spirit, soul, body, heart. Prosperity is birthed in there. Prosperity is freedom. Prosperity is abundance. Prosperity has no lack in it. Prosperity is peace that surpasses all understanding. Prosperity is wisdom. Prosperity is an ability to influence rather than be influenced by the surroundings, by the world. That's why the Bible talks about us being in the world, but not of the world. Because what's inside of us is another kingdom. And that kingdom is prosperous. Jesus ain't broke. Heaven ain't broke. And I'm not saying this because I'm about to take an offering and need your money. No, we're not playing the lying, cheating, false gospel. I'm liberating you to stop playing the religious gospel. I had one guy get so angry at me because I talked about prosperity. And he's like, you're on purpose trying to make people feel like prosperity is about money. And I said, money is a part of prosperity, man. This is how you survive. And he got so offended at me. But these same people who get offended, if their boss gives them a pay rise, are they going to take it? Yes, they're going to take it. If somebody puts money in their bank account, are they going to use it? Yes, they're going to use it. The same people that bash prosperity look for opportunities to make money. I don't understand how they reconcile that. That should be major cognitive dissonance. You know what I mean? Cognitive dissonance, confusion in your own head. There are people that are against prosperity, but they want to give money to charity. Well, what are you going to give when you don't have anything? Most people I have met who have a problem with prosperity have never given money away. They've never looked after other people, so they don't even understand. So let me quickly cover this. Jesus wasn't broke. When Jesus died, they cast lots for his robe, right? They cast lots for his garment. Do you think they cast lots for a budget garment? Or what was his garment really like? Jesus wasn't broke. When he was born, these magi came to visit him, right? 3 wise men. There weren't 3 wise men. Magi came to visit him, and they brought him gifts. And there was so much wealth in those gifts that for the next 3 years, Joseph, Mary, and Jesus are on the run. And they have no lack. They have no lack. Jesus wasn't broke. Jesus had a treasurer. Judas was his treasurer. Judas was a thief. You think a thief likes to be in charge of treasury that's like 2 or 3 budget coins? No. Jesus wasn't broke. You got to hear me out. And broke is broken. When you have a broken identity, you're broke. When you have a broken understanding of your finances, of your position on the planet, of your who God's called you to be and your purpose, when anything like that is broken, you are broke. Prosperity is the total opposite of broken, of broke. And you have to rewire yourself out of that stuff. So prosperity is your inheritance. And when you meet religious people that want to argue about all this kind of stuff, just ask them to quit their job. Don't take money from people, from their boss, anyone. See if they'll live like that. Most of them will not. So prosperity is where you live in abundance. You live in your inheritance, where you have more than enough, right? You're not lacking. There was no lack. Jesus never acknowledged lack in his journey. Jesus never lacked. So a lot of people have a problem with prosperity because of their misunderstanding from a religious context. Last thing I want to say to you about this is we're told in the Bible that heaven has streets made of gold. That doesn't look broke to me. It doesn't look broke to me. So all of these 3 subjects actually come back to your heart, the position of your heart. And nobody will ever know your heart. They can't. 2 people can do the same thing. And one person will judge it one way and one person will judge it another way. God will judge the hearts. You don't have to worry about the hearts. In religion, we've been taught like we're trying to guess everyone's heart motive. That's not our job. We don't need to worry about that. You don't need to worry about that. Worry about your own heart. But it all comes back down to your heart motive. Submission, prosperity. Religion requires no heart connection, no heart interaction. Does that make sense? I'm trying not to go too deep because I want to stop these earlier. They go too long. But if you have any questions, I'd love to hear any thoughts quickly. Last 5 minutes. I'll take any of your thoughts or questions around submission, prosperity. So Facebook, we got a couple of people on Instagram. You got any questions? Put them on here, guys, and I'll quickly touch on them. Please save this to your Instagram. Yes, I will save it to my Instagram. Instagram, I'm new to doing lives on Instagram, so there's only 2, 3, 4 people that watch it all the time, and maybe 30 or something, But Facebook's where I've been doing stuff. So if you got any questions or any specific thing you want me to touch on quickly before we wrap this up, let me know. So I like that Apostle John the Apostle said, "Beloved, I wish above all things that you will prosper." So I received that prosperity in my body, in my soul, which is my mind, my will, my emotions. I received that prosperity in my being. I received that prosperity in my relationships. All of my relationships are prosperous. I received that prosperity in my marriage. I received that. I received that prosperity. I wake up in freedom, in abundance, no lack in my life, right? So I'm sharing all this with you purely for this reason, that you would step into the fullness of what God has for you. This is your inheritance. And submission is a beautiful thing when you find people you can walk with. If you don't have anyone like that, pray. God will send you. God will send you people that you can submit to and walk with. And sometimes it takes a while for that journey to become organic. Like I've walked with some people for a while before we've gone into that kind of connection where I'm like, you know what? I want you to speak into my life, man. You're wise. I see how your marriage is. I want you to speak into my marriage. If you see anything, let me know. Like I see you're not broke. I see you love people. You remind me of Jesus, right? Like Paul is like, imitate me as I imitate Christ. I love submission. I love submitting to people that imitate Christ. I submit out of free will and choice and love, not because they demand it. So usually when somebody demands something of me, already I know there is a problem. When somebody wants to do something outside of relationship, I know that there is a problem. And that's my marker. So you don't have to use my marker, but this is how I make decisions, especially with walking with God and people. When somebody doesn't want a heart relationship with me, I know there is a problem. There is a problem behind the curtain. I'm going to share my story with you quickly. Like in the early days, discipleship to me was where a leader would come sit down and just tell me everything that's wrong with me, or ask me, what's wrong in your life, Joseph? Let me fix it. And they'll tell me what to do. And that's how I learned it. It was totally void of true love. So that is my biggest marker that I use in connection. All right, is, do you want relationship with me? Are we doing life together? Or do you want a position in my life? If you want a position in my life, not going to work, man. And that's the same for marriage. That's the same for all relationships. If it's just about a position, like I'm a man that wants a woman, but actually you have no desire to build connection and grow into that place, there is a problem, right? Relationship is the beginning, the genesis of all organic growth. Hard work around lack. Where would you advise one to start? Well, I am actually running a 4-day workshop called Wealth Architecture. So keep a lookout. I'm going to talk about that more today and tomorrow. I'm doing a little episode with 3 of my friends, and that is going to be the beginning of smashing lack out of your life. But so that's one thing. Make sure you jump on that. Wealth Architecture. Tomorrow I'm going to make an announcement on that, and it's going to be powerful. But the other thing that I've done is I've Googled scriptures around abundance. And that's what you want to do. Google scriptures around abundance and write them down. I write them with my hand because when I'm writing them, I say them. While I'm saying them, I see them. And they're going into me in 3 different ways. Because when I speak them out, they're going back in my ear. So I write them out, okay? It's scriptures around abundance, and I meditate on that. The rewiring, what would that look like specifically around submission, prosperity, religion? The rewiring requires real life application. So for example, I was burnt in submission by people that didn't understand relationship. So the next time I came into a connection like that, my natural reaction was, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like if you've ever been burnt in a marriage or in a love relationship with a man or a woman, when you come back into a scenario like that, you don't want it because you're like, I don't want that. And all these triggers come up. So rewiring is 2 parts. One is you prepare before the situation. It's like you prepare and you practice before the game. But the second part is while the game is going on, you have to make a choice. And this is where a lot of believers stuff things up. So for example, let's say you have a bad relationship with a guy and it went to custard and you haven't dated for a while and now you're coming back and you're about to court a man as soon as you have dinner with him, it's a date, he might say some things and now you're triggered. But you already dealt with your heart concerning your ex-partner or your husband. But now you're triggered. In that moment, you have to choose the rewiring. No, I am going to choose to be bold and brave in the potential of this relationship. So rewiring is two parts. It doesn't just happen one behind the scenes. It also happens on stage. Backstage, on stage. Practice, game time. Rewiring requires both. Are you with me? So you're consciously making a choice while the trigger is happening. You're making a choice. You don't run away. Two parts to rewiring. Okay, a couple more questions, then we're going. What do you think when people say you have no authority to pray or do that? So that's a very good question. So my ultimate submission is to Jesus. And when I look at Jesus, he only did what he saw his Father doing. So whatever he saw his Father doing, he did. And religious people came and said, you can't do that. You can't do that. He said, yes, I can. I'm doing it under the authority of my Father. So if you learn how to live a life under the authority of your Father, and when you do this, you're going to have proof. The way I know that someone walks with the Father is I see their life. You will see fruit. When you abide in the vine, fruit is a byproduct. So there are some people who claim to walk with the Father in a way that their fruit does not reflect. Does that make sense? This is another subject on its own. But when people tell me, hey, you have no authority to do that, I go straight to my dad. I'm like, Dad, you told me to do this. Are we good? We're good? I got to do it. I got to do it. And I've had people try and tell me that. And I understand they're trying to be good. And that's fine. That's between them and God. But at the end of the day, when all this is done, I'm meeting Jesus. I'm not meeting them. They're not standing there asking me questions. I'm meeting Jesus. So I only do what I see my Father doing. And I learn how to build history and track record with my Father. Fruit is a byproduct. So I've met people that say, I'm on a land assignment. I'm going to this place. I'm going to this place. And I leave that between them and God, because half the time when I see some of their life is cuckoo. It's a bit cuckoo. And I don't mean cuckoo like John the Baptist wearing camel's hair and eating locusts and honey, because that's okay. I mean cuckoo as in they don't know how to love people. See, it always comes back to love. Your ability to relate to people is a direct reflection of how you relate to God. When you can receive love from God, you can give love away. When you receive love, when you receive connection from God, it's easy to do with people. But when you can't receive that, it's hard. So it always comes back to that, right? I hope that made sense. So when people tell you you have no authority, make sure you check with God. You have authority of God, you're good. Okay, and let your life lead you. What else? What is actually you're covering? You need to go back to the early part of this video. You will see what I talked about covering. Boom. If you attend a church that teaches certain things that you don't agree with, are we to submit to a head pastor? Example, tithing, submitting to leaders. That's a very good question. You guys are asking good questions. I need to leave. Okay, let me answer that quickly. I will submit to where my Father has placed me, because I'm not submitting to the man. I am submitting to God, and it looks like that man right now. I have submitted to people that I've seen issues in, that I've seen problems with, but in my heart, I wasn't submitting to a man. And I recommend you never submit to a man. Submit to Christ in him, the hope of glory. When you submit to the Jesus you see in people, you will receive that reward. So when I see people that have issues, but God, right? So I only do what I see my Father doing. I feel like God is saying to me, stay with this person. Submit to them. I know they have problems, Joseph. I know they're not looking after you properly, Joseph, but get in there. So I stay there because my obedience is unto him. Now, when I obey him, I'm always taken care of. So I have relationships with some people that don't know how to love me back, but it's unto God, so I'm fine. He's my covering, right? So I'm protected by him. I'm provided for by him. So if he gets me to stay in a church that I think there's a lot of problems, but he wants me there, then I stay there. Because my victory, my breakthrough is not from the person. It's not from the people. It's from God. So I stay there. I've submitted to people that don't believe in things that I believe in. That's between them and God. Right? But I'm checking. And as soon as God says, okay, Joseph, you're done here, I'm like, catch you later. I'm out. You know? So the beauty and the benefit and the breakthrough is I'm submitting to God, and that looks like I stay in this church, even though they talk about tithing in a way I don't believe or don't agree with. It looks like I stay with this person, even though they don't know how to love me back. I'm going to choose to love them. It looks like Jesus walking with 12 men who had no capacity to understand him, to love him, take care of him, be with him, to be a friend. But he chose to be all of that to them because he was submitted to his Father. And in John 17, he proves that that was his heart, because he gives account for all these men that God gave him, right? So, hope that answered your question. Do it all in submission to your Father. You can never go wrong. All right, if you're enjoying these kind of little podcast chats that I've been doing once a week, can you please let me know in the comments? Tag me so that I see it. Otherwise, I'm going to miss it. And I'd love to know any subjects you want me to touch on. All right, what are subjects you want me to touch on? Because some of the questions you guys asked today, these are subjects on their own. These are big subjects on their own. So please do that. Last couple of things. Tomorrow, podcast is on wealth architecture. Make sure you jump on that, 7:30 a.m. New Zealand time. Number 2, I have a website, iamjosephwilson.com. Click on that. There's free training. Take the videos. My goal, all right? My goal is that you move into the fullness of your life because we are a body. We all need to rise. That is my goal, right? I have seen enough not just broke in finances, but broken believers, frustrated, disappointed, discouraged. I've seen enough of that. I don't want you to be one of them, all right? So let's journey together. Love you lots. Instagram, thanks for hanging with me. Facebook, thanks for hanging with me. Give me some feedback on subjects. And let's keep moving, man. Love you guys. Talk soon.
Faith and patience. Faith and patience. Patience means allow it to happen. Stay the same. Stay persistent. Keep going. Faith, know that it can happen at any moment. Get excited because it can happen at any moment. You were so close. Don't quit now. Keep pushing. You got this.